Welcome, all paddlecraft adventurers. For over 3 years, I've been exploring the tranquil waters of the River Spey from various paddlecrafts. It truly is a river of untamed natural beauty, its powerful currents meandering through the heart of the Scottish Highlands. Through those years, I've noticed a troubling trend has emerged, an increase in the amount of litter polluting its waterways. So, this time, I'm not just here to admire the scenery, I'm on a mission to clean up this river, one piece of litter at a time. If you're watching this video, you're probably a paddle sport enthusiast with an interest in environmental conservation, or maybe you just like the catchy title. Either way, stick around to find out how you too can help preserve your local waterways from the comfort of your chosen paddlecraft. Before we embark on this exciting paddle sport waterway cleanup adventure, let's take a moment to prioritise safety. First, you'll need to familiarise yourself with your chosen waterway. In my case, I've paddled this stretch of river on numerous occasions, so I've become accustomed to its current, water level, and any potential hazards such as rapids, rocks, or logs. Secondly, assess the weather conditions. The weather forecast for this day was a lovely cool 5 degrees Celsius, little chance of precipitation, and light winds. This type of weather, for most people, will require a wetsuit or a dry suit to retain body heat. For more in-depth information on weather forecasts specific to your paddle sport, you could utilise apps such as SavvyNavi or Windy app. Finally, always have a partner and a plan. I've dragged my brother along with me on my adventure, who will not only be my faithful cameraman, but is steadfast at the ready in case I get into any trouble on the river. The waterway I've chosen to paddle on and clean up, the River Spey, is Scotland's fastest flowing river, so having an extra pair of eyes to watch my back is essential for my safety. If you can't find a partner, at the very least, tell someone where you're going and what time you plan on being back. There are other aspects of safety I've not mentioned because they can be specific to the location you're paddling, weather conditions, skill level, and type of paddlecraft you're using. Make sure to do your research and be conscious of your skill level. Your life could depend on it. Now, let's talk equipment. Here's a glance at some of the equipment I'll be using. You'll see some of the equipment here can be optional depending on your personal preferences and the type of paddlecraft you're using, such as the dry bag, towel, or multi-tool. For general waterway cleanups, you'll want these essentials: a litter bin, such as a basket or a box. I'll be using a paddleboard for my chosen craft, so I went with this sturdy, low-profile box, as it balances easier on the board through its lower centre of gravity. As you can see, I've even taken extra precaution by securing it to the board with a bungee. You'll want a litter picker of some sort. This can be the conventional litter picker you see here, or you can also use this paddle attachment specifically designed for hooking onto and retrieving litter. If you don't have these pickers, or maybe you're on a low budget, you can construct your own paddle picker, like this one I have here. To craft this yourself, you'll need a clothes peg and some electrical tape. First, attach the tape to the peg, then position it on the shaft close to the blade. Next, tightly wrap the tape around the shaft and the peg while the peg is opened. Do this a few times to ensure it's properly secured. Here's a look at one I constructed earlier next to the standard picker I purchased. Make sure to take a pair of gloves with you. I cannot express how much these came in handy, no pun intended, when getting a good grasp on litter tangled in a tree or wedged in the riverbank. I suggest garden gloves like these ones. Your hands don't get sweaty and they provide a good barrier of protection against potentially harmful pieces of litter. Even though I didn't end up needing extra bin bags, I recommend taking a couple with you in case you find more litter than your bin can carry. I do also highly recommend hand sanitizer. You never know what kind of litter you can come across in waterways. So, now that you've taken into account weather conditions, safety, and equipment required, it's time to consider your launch site. Choose a site you can easily access with your craft and equipment. Consider whether the land is private or a public, whether you'll need permits or charges for launching, and consider any other legal matters of the land you're launching from. Avoid disturbing nesting birds or other sensitive wildlife, and be mindful not to damage the riverbank. Make sure to launch from a stable position and avoid tipping over. Let the adventure begin. Once on your chosen waterway, you'll want to think about the areas you plan on collecting litter. Here on the River Spey, I was focusing on collecting litter at the riverbanks. I avoided collecting litter from the riverbed, as this could be an environmental concern on its own. Agitating the riverbed can stir up sediment, burying fish spawning areas, reducing their ability to successfully reproduce. Being in a paddlecraft on the water provides a good vantage point to identify litter, which could otherwise be hidden or overlooked from above the riverbank. It also offers access to areas along the riverbank that may be difficult to reach on foot. Paddlecrafts produce no noise pollution, create minimal wake, and do not disturb wildlife as much as motorized vessels, making them ideal for cleanup efforts in environmentally sensitive areas. You can see my first search area was a great success, as I've managed to fill about half of my bin with lots of discarded goodies. It's not only important to take breaks, rehydrate and re-energize, but also plan your next visible route to be aware of your surroundings. When in your paddlecraft, it's easy to get distracted while collecting litter. You can easily drift away with the current or potentially even capsize if you're not careful. Know your limits and always be safe. Picking up a piece of litter is not worth your safety. During my second search area, I retrieved this plastic feed tub. This was a great find, as my original litter bin was quickly filling up. So I utilised this as a secondary litter bin. This tarp I found was probably taken downriver from a campsite further up the river during the recent storms. If you come across larger items like this on your cleanup, rather than impractically carrying them around on your craft, you can stow them at a secure place on the riverbank and collect them later. Just make sure you remember where you stowed the item and the area is accessible via foot. As you paddle along, remember the importance of taking a moment to relax and appreciate the water. Reflect on your actions. Every piece of litter you remove from waterways has a positive impact on our environment and helps protect the habitats that are home to countless species. As the sun started to hide behind the clouds and rain pattered against the water's surface, I approached the finishing point. Arriving at the shore, you can see my trophy litter find of the day from the final search area, a fairly beat up aluminium chair. Now it's time to tidy everything up, ensuring I don't leave any litter behind. Back from the cleanup, I've laid out all the litter I retrieved for you to see. The majority consists of plastic bags, bottles and lids, and metal drink cans. Keep in mind where the final destination of the litter you've collected is going to be. Fortunately, most of what I collected was easily recycled on site or disposed as waste. For the larger items I found, such as the aluminium chair and the tarp, I took them to my nearby recycling and waste centre to be disposed of accordingly. Before I conclude, remember, you don't need to organise a big event to collect litter from your chosen waterway. If you happen upon a piece of litter, do the environment a favour and just pick it up. Thanks for watching, and together we'll keep paddling those waves of change.